Have you ever felt like the past is just a little too present? Like it's messing with your sleep, or your relationships, or just how you react to everyday stress? If that sounds familiar, you are so not alone. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on trauma and take a real look at what the path toward healing is all about.
This quote, wow. It just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Trauma isn't just a memory stuck in your head. Nope. It's a physical thing that can literally live on in our bodies, long, long after the event itself is over. And that right there is such a crucial point. See, when we think trauma, our minds often jump to these big, dramatic flashbacks you see in movies. But the reality, it often shows up in ways that are way quieter, kind of hidden just beneath the surface of our busy everyday lives.
So let's talk about this hidden language. Because for a lot of people, trauma doesn't scream for attention with these obvious signs. Instead, it's more like a whisper in the background, often disguised as feelings we just think are, well, part of who we are.
Right. It might look like snapping at someone you love for basically no reason, or feeling emotionally numb in a room full of people, or maybe carrying around this heavy sense of guilt you can't even explain. It's that constant feeling of being on high alert, just waiting for the other shoe to drop. These are those subtle, nagging signs that something just isn't resolved.
So how do all these little feelings start to form a pattern that we can actually recognize? Let's dive a little deeper into some of the most common signs and just see if any of these quiet signals feel familiar to you.
Just take a look at this list. Maybe you find yourself making up excuses to avoid a certain part of town, or maybe you feel like you're just going through the motions, totally disconnected from everyone. Or hey, maybe you've just stopped enjoying the hobbies that used to light you up. These are really common experiences for people dealing with unresolved trauma, and I just want you to know you are absolutely not alone in feeling this way.
And what about this one? Do you jump out of your skin at a loud noise? Does your heart start pounding when a car backfires? This feeling of being constantly on alert, it's a classic sign that your nervous system is basically still stuck in survival mode.
Now these experiences, they have names, and honestly, just understanding them can be so empowering. So let's clear up two really important terms you might have heard thrown around, PTSD and complex PTSD. They're related, for sure, but they are different.
So the big difference here really comes down to the timing and the nature of the trauma. PTSD is usually tied to a single major event, like a car accident or an assault. Complex PTSD, on the other hand, tends to come from trauma that was repeated or went on for a long time, often things like ongoing childhood neglect or emotional abuse. And that can lead to even deeper struggles with things like your sense of self, shame, and just being able to trust other people. Okay, so understanding the problem is step one. But what's next? The whole idea of healing can feel huge, totally overwhelming. So let's break down what getting professional help actually looks like. It's a lot more manageable than you probably think.
This breaks it down really nicely. It all starts with a private initial evaluation, a conversation where you only share what you're comfortable sharing. From there, a plan is built just for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It could involve therapy, maybe some medication to help with sleep or anxiety, or even simple lifestyle changes. And finally, it's about ongoing support, checking in, making adjustments, and building that strength and resilience for the long haul.
Okay, it is completely normal to have a ton of questions and maybe even some fears about this whole process. So let's just tackle some of the biggest ones head on.
This is a big one. A lot of people feel things physically, but have no idea it could be connected to what they've been through emotionally.
And the answer is a huge yes. Trauma is not just in your head. It can seriously impact your body's most basic systems, and that leads to very real physical symptoms. It's actually amazing how often people go to the doctor for physical problems that are actually rooted in unresolved trauma.
This is maybe the biggest thing that holds people back. The fear of having to relive it all, to spell it out in detail, it can feel absolutely paralyzing.
And the answer, thankfully, is no. This is so important to hear. Any good trauma-informed help puts you in the driver's seat. You control the story. Healing can start by just focusing on what you're feeling today, right now. Trust is built slowly, safely, over time. You decide what to share, and you decide when you're ready.
So what if the thing that happened a long, long time ago? Does that mean whatever you're feeling now can't be related?
Oh, it absolutely can. It's actually a known thing called delayed onset PTSD.
You might be functioning just fine for years, and then some new stressor, a big life change, a loss, even just a really high-pressure time at work can act like a trigger and cause all those old, unprocessed feelings to come rushing back to the surface. It's a very real thing.
So let's leave you with this thought. We tend to think of healing as getting rid of something bad, like erasing the past. But what if we just reframed that a little? What if healing is really about building something new? About creating a life where you feel safe and grounded and in control of your own story, right here, in the present moment? What could that look like for you?